Greetings, my children. It is I, Dr. Jimmy. This is the evening of Thursday, September 7th, 2017. For those of you who have been keeping count, it is now only 8 days to Horror Nights. In fact, in about 45 minutes, it'll be 1 week to Horror Nights, as it's getting very close to midnight. It's about 11:15. Oh. Tradition. T-shirt. The angels have the phone box. Don't even blink. Yes, got that out of the way. Let's continue. A little bit of trepidation, I'm afraid. As joyously as I'm looking forward to next week's delightful Halloween Horror Nights, between now and then there's this awful thing called Hurricane Irma, which is coming right at us, those of us who live here in Florida, and are apparently it's going to come right up the peninsula, right up towards us here in Central Florida. Good news is by the time it hits us, probably sometime around late Sunday night, early Monday morning, it'll be down to a 3-cat storm instead of a 5-cat storm, but still, it'll be the hardest hitting storm we've ever experienced, at least since I've lived here. Probably since something a long, long time ago. It's actually the most, well, as of right now, it's become the most powerful Atlantic hurricane on record. That's rather daunting. Of course, between now and Sunday, God knows what might happen. The thing could veer north earlier than anticipated. It could zip past Cuba and go out into the Gulf, although those are very unlikely. And the best track, the Euro track, which is always better. Why is the Euro track better than the American track? I don't understand that. You think America would have a better track than the computers, but for some reason we seem to have lost the edge. And the Euro one is better than ours and more accurate every time. You'd think Mr. America President out there would try to get that and get some funding so that we can have better things. But no, he wants to slash all the funding to the National Weather Service and to FEMA. I don't understand these people. They say one thing, and then they let the country sink into the dregs, and that's why we're being outpaced by China and Europe, because they don't bother putting money into education and research and science and the things, and we get outpaced, and then we pretend that we're better than they are anyway, and they end up showing us up over and over again, just so that rich people can get less taxes. It's ridiculous. But enough politics. Although climate change deniers, excuse me, 2 record-breaking storms in the same frickin' week? Are you kidding me? Plus what's been going on in California with the droughts causing those huge brush fires. You know, Halloween Horror Nights is threatened on both coasts. And if these people had realized what was going on, everyone was telling them, but they kept ignoring it, maybe we wouldn't have this problem. Not to get too political, but saber-rattling with Korea's threatening the Horror Nights in Japan because they might get nuked. So what? Only thing left is Singapore. Maybe I should have gone there after all. But getting past all that, you can tell I've already had a cocktail before I started, can't you? Yes. I also just enjoyed 2 marvellous tennis matches, the semi-final matches for the Women's Championship of the US Open Tennis Tournament, and 4 American ladies. All 4 of the semi-finalists are American. That's marvellous. I don't think that's happened in decades. And American ladies tennis is just, I mean, it's like America to tennis is like Orlando to soccer. The girls do it better. There's just no way to get around that. Poor Sam Query didn't make it to the semi-finals, but all four of these ladies did. And of course, I just saw the matches, and Venus lost to young Sloane Stephens. Of course, you know, it had to happen eventually because Sloane is the future. And then, of course, we saw Madison Keys beat Coco Vanderway. Both quite amazing. And so it's going to be a final between Sloane and Madison. That should be awesome. Wonderful. Used to seeing two African-American American tennis players going head-to-head in a Grand Slam final, but usually they're two sisters, both named Williams. So this is kind of refreshing. Neither one is a Williams sister. Although, actually, I understand Madison doesn't like being pegged as just black. She's like, I'm not black, I'm black and white. Sort of like all of my relatives. I've got like 8, actually 7 nieces, 1 nephew, mixed race. My whole family is a big rainbow of every shade and color and ethnicity, and you know, so that's where I'm from. I'm from this rainbow tribe. So you just thought I was a white guy, and not quite. I'm only 96% Caucasian. But that's another story. Anyway, so let's get on with it. This will be the cocktail, now that I've been rambling, because I've already had a lovely martini earlier. I wasn't quite sure I'd be doing this tonight, but then the opportunity arose, and it occurred to me with Irma coming this way, maybe after this I might not have a chance to do one for a while. If the power goes out and everything else, and the connection to the internet, hopefully I'll have better chances, and hopefully that won't happen. But I don't know what to anticipate, because my goodness, it's coming straight up the peninsula right at us. Gonna get here by, you know, they'd say by sometime Monday morning. So it should be. So I thought I might as well get this done and get the next cocktail out of the way. This is my first one for an original house this year. This is for Dead Waters. It's a bit ominous considering the hurricane is coming. Dead Waters, ew. This is from the wonderful haunted house that is going to be a sort of sequel to Bayou of Blood from the Scare Zone a couple of years ago, set in Louisiana bayous with big paddle wheel, Mississippi stern wheeler, gets half sinking in the swamp, and sort of like that Disney movie, The Princess and the Frog, only spooky and scary like, you know, which is what voodoo and evil spells and all of that sort of stuff is supposed to be anyway. Of course, it's sort of like, oh, gee, don't we already have voodoo in New Orleans in another haunted house this year? Yes, we do. We got that going on American Horror Story, so we've got more voodoo in 2 places, but that hasn't been the last time that's happened. We had multiple vampires in 24, for example, with Dracula Untold and From Dusk Till Dawn, and we had multiple cabins in the woods back in Halloween Horror Nights 23 with both Cabin in the Woods and Evil Dead. So you never know. And you know, sometimes you have multiple zombies, different zombie franchises at the same time. So there you go. Righty then, we're going to jump up then with this. I decided for Dead Waters, because I made already a sort of Louisiana Santa Voodoo themed a little bit, witching up an old Sazerac, which is a classic New Orleans cocktail, maybe the original cocktail Dr. Peychaud had created. So what would I do for this? And I was thinking, of course, because hurricanes, and they just had a hurricane in Texas, and they had one. It kind of went over to Louisiana a little bit too, Harvey, but at the same time, all that water and flooding, thank goodness I live on the top of a hill. Oof. So hopefully my house, I don't have to worry about flooding where I live, because I am on high ground, which is unusual in Florida, but I do happen to live on some high ground. What I have to look out for is the winds, the heavy winds, especially with all the large trees in this area. So hopefully I don't get crushed under a mighty oak or something. That would be a bad thing. And I'm going to have to do a lot of moving stuff about, get everything into all my precious things that are in this outer room and take it into an inner room where it's going to be safer. I've already started that. You notice all the stuff that usually is tacked on that is out of papers and stuff. I have more stuff to move. Be doing that for a couple of days. And if necessary, we'll just get the hell out of here. Once everything's secure, we might do that. We might just pack up and, you know, go north a bit. Or, but where would you go? Because it's going to go all the way up to the Carolinas. I mean, I'm not quite certain what to do about that. Might just hunker down here. It's only going to be Cat 3. I think this house is pretty durable. It's not made of wood or anything. It's, you know, cement block, which is good construction. So, and it's on high ground, so we might be all right hunkering down in inner rooms in this very structure, which should be all right. Okay, so let's get to the cocktail. I'm thinking about swamp water. I'm thinking about the weird, dark, murky, bubbling, festering waters of the bayous and the swamps, the fetid, marshy water, the bog water, from which all the voodoo spells seem to percolate up. Alligators swimming about in it, possums and critters, and something out of Walt Kelly's Pogo. Yes. Not to get all hokey with Okie Finoki, but that might be what would be a good idea to base the cocktail on. But with a little bit more Louisiana twist, maybe some Cajun spice or something. So I came up with the idea of mixing up some sort of voodoo swamp water, starting with a tall glass with some ice. So we start putting some ingredients that would be appropriate. And of course, we're talking about the South. We're talking about so let's start with some Southern Shine. All right, so put some of that in this shot glass. That should be enough, not a whole shot glass, but just enough to start start the swamp water going. And we put that in there. Okay. Now, after that, I'm thinking about that paddle wheeler sinking into the swamp like a wreck vessel. So, and of course, Louisiana, we think of Jean Lafitte. We think of pirate treasures in the swamp. There's always been a connection between pirates and Louisiana. Now, I don't think it has anything to do with the house. There might not be any sort of, but you never know. There could be something. And so here I've got, and Jean Lafitte supposedly, you know, knew Marie Laveau. Of course, she seems to have lived in more than one time period, but then she might have had a daughter and a granddaughter all with the same name, creating the illusion of an immortal, or maybe she was immortal. Different theories abound, depending on how you look at it. So let's put some shipwreck rum, just a little bit. Again, that should be enough, not a whole shot, because I only have so much room in here, so that's in there too. All right, now Cajun spice. Here for that I chose ancho reyes, and we just want a little dash of the ancho reyes, just enough to give it some Cajun spice. Because it's pepper liqueur made from chili peppers. And because it's, oh, I forgot, what's a swamp water without some vegetation? I should have put this in first. Let's see, pull out of here what I have here. Let me see. Mint. So I'm going to pull some sprigs of that out and just shove this vegetation right down in through the middle of the glass, all right? You've got leaves and stuff. All right, now, let's see. I had the shine and the ancho. Okay, so, to give a little more color to it, because of the wild vegetation, put in some cactus juice. Yes. I thought about Midori, but I just used that. I didn't want too sweet. So this isn't exactly green. It's more of a murky yellowish colour. Perfect for swamp water. Let's put some of that cactus juice in there. Alright. And further connecting it to the Louisiana bayous, Dr. Peychaud's bitters. Yes. That wild apothecary from New Orleans who created the cocktail in the first place. I mean, the whole idea of cocktails. So, we'll just put a little bit of that. It's kind of red like blood. So, see how that looks. It already looks quite gruesome. You got this like floating on top of this. Looks pretty amazing. So, what next? Well, top the whole thing off. Ginger beer, of course. This is Barrett's. That's from Bermuda. Hope they do all right with the storm. This is a diet ginger beer, however, because I'm too fat. I'm trying to take off a few. I've lost 6 pounds since I started this diet, and I try to take a good walk every morning, and maybe by the time Horror Nights rolls around, I'll be down a bit more. Because there's an awful lot of walking about at Horror Nights. And a little bit more. There we go, top off with the ginger beer. And voila! Voodoo Swampwater, complete with the nature's helping me out with some sound effects. Those are those little croaky frogs from Puerto Rico outside. They must have swam over here because of the hurricane. No, those little croaky frogs. They always chirp loudly just before there's a storm. Fucking frogs. Anyway, they're out back having fun, trying to have sex in my pool, which never works because it's chlorinated and all the little eggs will dissolve. Stupid frogs. I try to chase them out and take them down to the pond down the street and let them go there, because we need frogs for the environment and ecology and everything, and frogs are getting in disappearing now. We don't want frogs to disappear because they're part of the ecosystem. But not my damn swimming pool, stupid frog. Alright, here we go. Here's the Voodoo Swampwater. It turned out quite lovely in appearance with all the green floaty leaves and colour. Very nice, looks like muddy water. Yes. Let's give it a sip. Oh, that's interesting. You know, it's a lot nicer than I thought it would be. It happens a lot in these cocktails. Turns out quite well. Now, here, what's in this? Moonshine, rum, cactus juice, ancho reyes and Peychaud bitters, and ginger beer, and some mint. This is actually not bad. Very not bad. And you can pick up the different notes, and the spice doesn't hit you right away. You can taste the ginger in the ginger beer, but after a few swallows, suddenly the ancho hits you. Whoa, there's a little bit of a bite to this. Yes, this is good voodoo. Very good. Yes. Drink this and suddenly you're somebody's horse. If you know anything about voodoo, you know what I mean. Suddenly Papa Legba is riding you, and you open doors for people. Yeah. I used to open doors for people as a living, or rather send them through a revolving door. Like Auntie Mame said, doors you didn't even know were closed. Live, live, live. What time is it? Very soon it'll be time for Stephen Colbert's lovely program, and Bernie Sanders is the guest. I think I want to see that. So I'm going to close this off without finishing the cocktail. Don't trust me, I will finish it. Hello, Lenny. Yes, that was Lenny the cat. Is Lenny a good cat? Want to come up here so people can see you? Come up here so people can see you. No, she wants to stay over here. Don't jump on the desk and knock my bottles over. That's a lovely Lenny cat. Well, Lenny's here, but you can't see her because she's staying out of camera range. Silly puss. Who's a silly puss? Yes. Anyway, so this is my Dead Waters cocktail. And turned out rather good. I recommend it. I do not recommend dealing with hurricane anxiety by getting schlocked, although it might help. Just make sure you sober up before the actual hurricane arrives, because it won't do you any good to save you from the storm. And for all of my friends living here in the path of Irma, stay safe, bunker down, and if you're not in a high area like myself, and you're in a low-lying area, you might want to think of getting out of town, go somewhere higher up and safer. And you know, if you're on the coast especially, come into central Florida, or go north, go up somewhere else, go visit your relatives in Tennessee or Pennsylvania or someplace. And because we all want to stay alive, because Horror Night starts next Friday. In fact, it's still not midnight yet, but it starts very, a week and a half hour from now, and you don't want to miss it. I don't think that Irma's going to cause any trouble with Horror Nights. They are going to cancel Saturday night's concert and the Sunday morning prayer service for Rock the Universe. I don't do Rock the Universe because although I am a Christian and I like rock music, I don't like Christian rock music because it doesn't make rock music better. It makes Christianity worse, or something like that, to paraphrase Hank Hill. Or was it, it doesn't make Christianity better, it makes rock music worse. Either way works. No, it's awful. I don't like Christian rock music. I prefer rock music and Christianity, like Episcopalianism. But or many different forms of Christianity are fine, But but that's been cancelled, so they're still doing the concert tomorrow night. So it's not cancelled the whole Rock the Universe, but they're cutting back on part of it because of safety concerns, of course. Nevertheless, the hurricane is hitting probably late Sunday and then Monday, all Monday, but by Tuesday it's gone up there and it starts hassling South Carolina and Georgia. And so by Tuesday and Wednesday it should be fine. And unless things get utterly destroyed, and I don't think that's going to happen, we should be back on track. And they'll probably have a team member preview on Wednesday night. And the sale for people who want to go buy the lovely merchandise. Oh, they've got a colour change mug. They've got a little vinyl mini of the little bone man who might be the bone character from Festival of the Deadliest, or maybe one of the Academy of Villains characters, but he's got a bony face and bony skeleton, and he looks just adorable. And Shelby has nicknamed him Billy Bones. Lovely Shelby Denham with her wonderful artwork, and so it should be quite fun. Lots of neat stuff they're selling this year. There should be some wonderful merchandise and t-shirts and lanyards and mugs available on Wednesday the 13th if you're a pass holder, annual pass holder, or a team member. And then of course by Friday by Friday they'll have had plenty of time to clean up, and they've taken everything down. They took all that stuff that was in the doorways for the purge in New York, they took all that and put it away. They took down the whole stage practically and all this other stuff. They left the pumpkins in the trees. You know, those are going to go whee, flying through the air if the hurricane hits as hard as it might. But hopefully it won't, and that'll be safe. Hell, they might lose a couple of trees in Central Park at that. But hopefully everything will be safe and everything will be fine, and they can put it all back in and be ready by Friday. Because, you know, it hits Monday, then you have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So you have plenty of time to put everything back up. And, you know, they don't just work during the day, they can work after hours too. And so by Friday, it should all be ready to go. Cross fingers, hope, hope. And hopefully Jose doesn't come here, but just takes a northern turn like everyone thinks it's going to and end up in the Atlantic somewhere. Why can't Irma have done that? Or maybe Irma still will, I don't know. So, if we're all still here a week from now, it'll be Horror Nights time and we'll be at the park having delightful fun. So until then, I might do one or two more videos between now and then. The next couple of days I'll be rather busy, you know, sandbagging my house and stuff. So making sure me and the cat and everybody is safe here so that we can endure and survive Irma and be around to talk about it afterwards. So I probably might not make any more videos for a little bit until after Tuesday. But if at some point, if I have a chance, there'll be 3 additional house cocktails, of course, once I figure out what to do for the 3 other houses, Hive and Fallen, and what was the other one? Hive, Fallen, and Scarecrow, the Reaping. Yes, not to mention all those lovely little scare zones. So, lots of stuff to think about. And one of these days, hopefully, I'll get to that 11th video for the history of Halloween Horror Nights 25. And maybe I might be able to wrap up 25 and start 26 one of these days, hopefully before 27 is over. So that concludes then today's video. Colbert is already on and I better go out and see him. It should be lots of fun. And this is the cocktail for Dead Waters. That turned out way better than I thought it would. Cheers.